Hello, I'm Nicholas Papanikolaou, and I wanted to talk a little bit today about my new book, which is called Islam versus the United States. Um, I came to it in a roundabout way. I think probably the first motivating factor was the demands that we hear in the Western countries, in Western Europe and the United States, for increased application of Sharia law and special Sharia courts, etc. And that idea sort of propelled me, that demand rather, propelled me into thinking, well, is this justified, and can Sharia law set aside, for example, the United States Constitution or the constitutions of other Western countries? And also part of the motivating factor was when I heard President Obama saying that Islam has been a part of the America story from the beginning. And I believe he said that in June of 2009 in Cairo. So it made me wonder, and I started to research with an open mind to find where the truth is and what I made out of all of these facts. And so what I've discovered is through this journey is that there's an awful lot of misstatements that are made which mislead people in the Western world, and that is not fair. At the World Public Forum Dialogue of Civilizations, which I've talked about before, we always emphasize to everybody that there has to be symmetry in the relations between human beings. In other words, you cannot have one side that demands everything and doesn't yield anything to the other side. So symmetry, for example, is a principle that could and should be applied in religious worship. But the curious phenomenon is that a very small minority, for example, in the United States, demands to have mosques, demands even to build the Ground Zero Mosque over the site where 3,000 innocent people lost their lives. And yet we all know that it is impossible to build a Christian church or a Jewish temple in most of the Arabian Peninsula countries, and therefore that is not symmetry. So that's one feature that sort of stood out to me. And there were others. I think that President Obama was wrong when he tried to make it look like Islam has been an encouraging or a positive part of America's story from the beginning. The truth is quite different. The first foreign war that the United States, the young American Republic, fought on foreign soil was against the Barbary Coast pirates in Libya and Algeria and Morocco. And it was a very bloody business. For a while, actually, successive early American governments tried to make the problem go away by paying tribute to the Barbary Coast pirates. And in 1795, for example, the tribute that was paid by the United States government was $1 million. It exceeded $1 million of that time's money. So you can imagine what that money would amount to today. And yet, American ships were being pirated, and American citizens were being taken and sold into slavery at the slave bazaars in Algeria. I urge you to take a look at this book because it touches on many more aspects. It also delves into the different periods in which the Quran was written, and there were four: early Mecca, mid-Mecca, late Mecca, and then Medina, and explains how the verses written in the Medina period actually supersede and abrogate earlier verses if they contradict the later verses. And I think that you will find a lot of interesting reading and interesting facts in it, including also over Jerusalem, which is not incidentally mentioned once in the Quran. And yet we see and we hear the claim that it is a holy city for Islam, but there is no historical background for that other than the fact of the violent conquest of Jerusalem in, I believe, 638 AD. So take a look at the book. It is a short book. It is to the point. It is not repetitive. I believe it's about 90 pages plus exhibits. And I think that when you're done with that, you will have a much better understanding of the Quran, of the historical context, and also fast forwarding to today's world, what the situation is. Thank you very much.